not neat. We are not expecting perfection. We're not going to get perfection. Oh my god. Okay. Can you tell I don't craft? I'm always biting off more than I can chew with these projects. I'm Kate. Let's talk theater. Today, we are going to be talking about kind of the goings-on of theater in January, just going over some news, chatting a little bit, what I've been up to in terms of my theater experiences, and we're going to be painting a pop figure, a Funko Pop. This Funko Pop is a Yellowstone Beth Dunton Pop. I have no idea what this is, who she is, why she looks a little tired, but we're going to be turning her into Patti Lupone's Joanne. So I'm very excited. You can actually check out a video I've already made talking about the company revival and making my Katrina Lynx Bobby Funko Pop. That was my first go of it. She's cute. Is she perfect? No. Who is, right? Really only felt right that we add to the collection. How can you have Bobby without Joanne? Crack this baby open. This is a limited edition exclusive Funko Pop, so I'm probably making somebody mad. Alright, so I picked this gal because she's got the shortish hair, she got the bangs, and she also has the fur coat. Alright, so that is giving. It's short. Dear Lord, it's short. And then obviously Patty was wearing heels, not boots, but who do you think I am? We make it work. We make it work. She's been through some things. I have no idea what Yellowstone's about. I don't know why she looks like she has seen better days. So we're definitely going to be having to touch up her face a little bit. But I figured we'd start easy because I do not have a gentle hand. So we're going to start with her hair because that is very straightforward. We've got some brown acrylic paint. I'm going to water it down just a touch. And then I'll be right back. All right, so to kind of, oh Lord, how did that happen? We're accepting it. We're accepting it. It's okay. It's a chill video. I got like this raggedy sweatshirt on because we're using paint. It's fine. All right. How are we going to... I haven't perfected this, and I don't know if you expected me to, but that was silly behavior. Okay, mix this up. Thin it out a little bit. It kind of helps the texture. But let's first talk about some theater I saw. This January, I started off the year right with Death Becomes Her. I want to do a full proper video on Death Becomes Her because I just had such a great time and the lottery gods blessed me that night and I ended up getting first row center. It was an incredible experience. It's just such a good show. It does comedy right. And that can be really hard to find. No turning back. But it can be hard to find a show that really pulls off being genuinely funny, being genuinely entertaining. And there's a little bit of a sprinkle of the meaning of life, if you will, and beauty standards and what it means to age, and is it a gift to age, right? But it never feels like they're trying to, it's not a PSA, right? It's in there, I think, to ground it just a little bit, but ultimately this is a show that is very laugh out loud funny. The gags are hilarious. The stunts were incredible, and the special effects were some of them genuinely all of them, but they just wowed me. I'm still thinking about how they do some of these things. Just really genius work. It definitely felt like the people who made this musical loved the movie and knew how important it was to honor the source material while still feeling like they are ultimately two separate identities, which I think is important. We see so many adaptations right? And it can feel really easy to see something that is just like a carbon copy, and you can think like, well, what was the point of you making this if it's basically the same, right? But then it's like if you go too far, sometimes people are then unhappy because they love the source material. And this feels like it's an homage to the source material. It clearly has an appreciation for the source material, and it has the moments that you're looking for. But I think where it really shifts is like the dynamic just feels very much Megan Hilty, Jennifer Samards, and Christopher Sievers. It doesn't feel like they're trying to be Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, Bruce Willis. Like, it feels like they've really taken on their own identity and their own perceptions of the characters. And so I love that for them. It's definitely a show that I will be seeing again. I have to see it again. It feels like the kind of show where I want to just take everybody to it. Like, I need everyone to go see this show with me because it is just glorious. I then went back to Maybe Happy Ending. And I went to the Museum of Broadway. Highly recommend. If you have not been to the Museum of Broadway yet or are ready to go again and are looking for a good show pairing, Maybe Happy Ending is the one. The Museum of Broadway, you're probably going to stay there for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I would say an hour and a half is like minimum. Maybe an hour 20 is like minimum. You know, I definitely find that, and I've been there before, I definitely find that I kind of float through some eras that I'm not as into, but then I'm going to like live in other areas that I really love. I love the 70s era because it has the company sets, right? So I'm going to spend a lot of time there. Whereas I think like Oklahoma, I walk right through the corn. I'm sorry. I don't care. So the Museum of Broadway is a really nice, like 90-minute to 2-hour excursion. And it's a block from the Belasco, where you can then go see Maybe Happy Ending. And Maybe Happy Ending's a one act. It's about 100 minutes. So those are a really great pairing for a really great time. Highly recommend. I went to the museum at about 4:45. It closed at 6:30. Walked right over the theater, got right in. Show was at 7. So definitely recommend doing that. I love the Museum of Broadway. It's just an incredible interactive museum. Everything is just so immersive. I end up learning so much. And I feel like whether you're a huge Broadway fan or somebody who's a little more of a novice to it all, you're still going to have a good time because it's just there's just so much. You're going to find something for everyone. But I then did go see Maybe Happy Ending again. Love Maybe Happy Ending. Was really excited to see it in its full glory because I had previously saw it in previews. That is definitely a show that I am going to do like a proper video about, talk about a little bit more. I think there's a lot to say. It's an incredible show. It's very meaningful. It's very special. It's the kind of show that I want to take more people to in my life. There's a lot to be said, but there's also a lot to just kind of sit with. And I think there's more to say on that, and that will come. I then saw Hadestown. I went to see Carlos Valdes. It's rare that I go and I see something for a specific person because you just never know. That's the nature of Broadway. He was not in. What can you do? That's the nature of Broadway. I'm not going to get mad. I liked the understudy. I got to see some other new cast members that I hadn't seen before. I do hope when there's the next cast change, I do want to try to get back in and catch Carlos. I realized that I've actually been very lucky over these couple of years of seeing Broadway more regularly since it reopened. Every time I've gone and I'm like, I really hope they're in. They've always been in. I've actually always been lucky. There have been people that I was like hoping to see and they weren't there. Like I wanted to see Brian Darcy James in Into the Woods. I went within a few days of it opening on Broadway and he wasn't in. He missed opening night. He was not well. He was out. Ultimately, sorry Brian Darcy James, I was there for Sarah Bareilles and Philippa So. I did miss Brian Darcy James until I went and I saw Days of Wine and Roses. I don't think she stands at all. And she does not come with Oh, wait, she does come with a stand. She comes with a stand. I have definitely been dumb and thrown these out before. So I'm very glad I noticed that. Duh. I act like I don't have a ton of these. For some reason, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. But yeah, I've often... I'm in crisis here. Here she is. I've often gone... Like, I have occasionally gone to something to see somebody, but my rule is, like, if I'm only going to a show to see someone that I don't care about the show, I'm not sure if I'm going to like the show, whatever, and I'm, like, paying a proper ticket. It's different if it's, like, a lottery, and it's a little bit easier to kind of justify taking that chance. But if I am, like, fully spending a genuine amount of money here, there's gotta be something else. Like, for instance, I went to see Waitress back in 2019 to see Jeremy Jordan, if we're being honest with ourselves. But also, it was Waitress. I knew I wasn't gonna have a bad time. I loved that show. I'd already seen it 3 times. Right? And that's how I felt with Hadestown. Like, if Carlos Valdes isn't there, I love that show. I've seen that show without Carlos Valdes, and I'll see it again without Carlos Valdes. I think that's how you say his last name. I'm realizing I've never heard it said out loud. Come on, girl. This takes a delicacy that I don't have, in case you were wondering. But I do think that I think as an audience member, you have to be real with yourself of, like, you're playing the lottery a little bit. You're gambling with your fate if you were only going for one person. Like, I know when Jeremy Jordan was then in Little Shop the first time, I didn't end up seeing him because I didn't have any interest in Little Shop. But then I saw Little Shop with, I think, Jeff Sears and Lena Hall, who changed my life as Audrey. She was incredible. I loved her Audrey. And I found, like, oh, I actually like this show more than I expected myself. I don't know. I don't know why I was being silly. Like, it's Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. Like, what was I thinking? Of course I liked it. And so when Jeremy Jordan came back, I was like, well, now I know. Like, I'll have a good time no matter what. And I did get lucky and I did see him. But I always see people post, like, videos being upset that they, which, like, I get it. I get being upset, but I think there still has to be sort of a line of, like, you can feel what you gotta feel. Everybody's feelings are valid, but, like, you know, you need to be realistic when you're making these purchases, especially because I see, like, I'm lucky. I don't have to fly to get to New York. But, like, if you're booking a plane ticket, like, be realistic with yourself. Make sure you're picking a show that you genuinely want to see, because that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the show. You're not paying for a person. That is just how theater rolls. Oh, Lord. Okay. So, I'm yapping about some theater experiences here. I thought it'd be interesting as well. This is, like, I mean, it's obviously very damp, but I'm liking this color. I'm feeling this. She's looking good. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of just, like, go through some theater news and just chat, react while I work on old Patty here. Just all kind of throughout January, some highlights for me. Suffs closed January 5th. I was not there. I had last seen it in October. I was done seeing it after that. If you can catch my drift, I think we're going to touch up instead, because she's still pretty damp, but she has, you know, all of these little bits underneath that I think we're going to do. New brush. Hold on. Shayna Taub, you will have to wait. This is the part that's hard because I have no patience or precision in my body. I'm glad I never wanted to be a surgeon. Okay. So Suffs closed. Suffs was open for about 11, no. Suffs was open for about 9 months. I really enjoyed Suffs. I went 3 times. It's a show that we needed. And it's a show that we will continue to need. And it's a show that I'm very, very grateful that we will get a pro shot of. They did film kind of in their last couple of weeks. I think the weekend of December 20th. They did film a pro shot with great performances from PBS. And I think it's, it's a reminder of just like how hard it is to get a pro shot together. Like, odds are what got us that pro shot was old Hillary Clinton's money. I do think it's so iconic, the story of Shayna Taub basically just sharing that Hillary Clinton saw the show at the Public, and then Shayna Taub found out that Hillary Clinton saw the show, and she was like, hello, give me money then. And she was like, bet. And then just so iconic. I just think about, like, we're watching rich people do really weird stuff with their money right now. And it's very odd. I'm like, if I had money, like if I had Hillary Clinton's money, if I had millions, I too would just like fund Broadway shows and then go to them all the time. Like, I love that for her. She went like once a month. I think I went to the show in July that she went to, and it was like a whole thing, but we were hearing from the ushers that she does it pretty regularly. And like I think the usher had said every 4 to 6 weeks, and I choose to trust them. But, like, that's iconic behavior. Like, yes, use your money to fund the arts and then just, like, hang out at the arts all the time. I would do that, too. I can't even lie. But, yeah, pro shots are expensive. Grateful that Suffs was able to get the funding to pull that off, because while I wish every show got a pro shot at some point, I am definitely grateful that Suffs, of all the shows, got a pro shot, because it's a story that needs to be told and needs to be able to be viewed with regularity. I think it'll be a really great show that hopefully like can be shown maybe in schools. I know that was a whole thing with Hamilton's album being really used by teachers and things, and just like getting kids interested in history, and specifically women's history, is important. Especially, I touched her head. Oh God. Okay. Something I had to accept about myself making the Katrina Lange Bobby is that I'm not neat. We are not expecting perfection. We're not going to get perfection. Anyway, what happened before I went to like full fight or flight over this pop figure? Back to the Future closed the same day, January 5th. I had seen Back to the Future 4 times. And it was a great time every time, okay? That show was cool. While I'm not going to act like it was the epitome of art in this world, it wasn't. Back to the Future got a lot of flack, and what I say to people who like really just had like beef with Back to the Future, learn how to have fun. Patti, Jesus. Learn how to have fun. Learn how to have fun. It just doesn't have to be that serious. Were the songs super like inspired and I'm humming them every day of my life? No. But they weren't like offensive. They weren't like terrible. They were just like fine. And I think like that's fine. Like it was still, again, it was still quality entertainment. Like it was still a good time, and that has value. Not only just for like sometimes I want to see a car fly and it just doesn't have to be that serious, but also I think like not everything can be this like super artsy time. Like we want something that's gonna get someone who's never thought about seeing musical theater, but they hear about this because they like the movie and they go and they see it, and it's I think a good introduction to the genre, especially like kids too. Like kids want to see something with the lights and the flashing and the fun, and let us have that. Let us have fun. Let her sit. Patti Lupone is joining in Just Like That season 3. Where did I missed this? She's going to have an arc. There's no information on what the character is going to be, but she will have an arc. Honestly, incredible. Give me a reason to watch that show. I'm gonna watch it, right? Like, it's one of those shows that I can't look away. I can't stop myself. I do actually have to turn it on. Like, I actually don't have a choice. But, like, give me a reason. My girl Patti over here with her unwell eyes and her very short dress is gonna be on In Just Like That. That's exciting. There's still no date for In Just Like That, though. Like, put me out of my misery, honestly. I'm obsessed with that show. I can't help it. I wish I was better than that, but I'm not. I still need to watch Sarah Bareilles' New Year's Eve concert. I'm being a bad fan. I've really gotten horrible at remembering that anything is on television. I am super intrigued by this Joy musical, which is about the life of entrepreneur and inventor Joy Mangano. I think she made the hangers. I do love this trend of concept albums. I do think it's a necessary part of picking a show and taking a show off the ground. And I think it's also just smart. Like, I think from a marketing standpoint, in terms of like building an audience before you even make it to the stage, but I think also like gauging interest, right? I mean, if this concept album bombs, the investor and everybody can turn around and say, okay, nobody's looking for this right now, right? Maybe in 5 years we'll try again. Because I think what we're seeing right now, going on this season, some quick closers, like, it does make you wonder, what's going wrong with the marketing? What's going wrong with, like, audience expectations, right? Like, I don't work in this business at all, but, like, when you make a product, you test, right? Like, you do research. Like, you try to see, like, is there a market for this? What's going on Broadway that these shows keep making it to Broadway that just then they close, and I see all these TikTok theater talk influencers who I respect, I care about their opinions, and they're saying, yeah, this was never going to find an audience. Why didn't the investors know that? Are we not doing market research? Are we not looking into these things? Like, I have questions. I have questions as to how then some of these things are ever even making it in the first place for then the influencer types to turn around and be like, yeah, I'm not surprised this closed. Well, it's like, somebody is surprised it's closed. Some weird millionaire who was like dumping money into this is surprised it closed. It's like, what's going on there? I have questions. So I do love the concept of a concept album, especially right now where we are seeing shows struggle to get off the ground, and they can't afford to mess around and have months and months to build an audience. So yeah, I mean, it's time to re-strategize. It is time to kind of build an audience before you ever even open the doors of a theater. This back of the hair is the worst part. I say that, but probably every part is going to end up being the worst part, if I'm being honest with myself. Many moons ago, this has been going on forever. They are going to be streaming Waitress on Max. There was a whole thing, if you remember, it came out in theaters last December 24. For about a week, and then they ended up extending. It was all very exciting. It actually did pretty well for itself, which is amazing news as we are thinking about, pro shots becoming hopefully more accessible. I think Hamilton, right, showed us that they are possible, that you can utilize a pro shot to actually make your show. I gotta stop doing this. Girl, Patti, no. She's struggling. I think I need to take a break or I'm going to go insane. Waitress came out in theaters. It showed us that you can actually be fairly successful. It was more successful than anticipated, right? Then some time goes by and they drop it on DVD and on digital for purchase, I think for rent as well. And so on February 14th, crazy timing for a musical about DV, on Valentine's Day, it's going to drop on Max. So get excited if you haven't seen it. We've been waiting a while. It was originally going to be on PBS, and it was removed for reasons we are not privy to. So we have been waiting. It's like we knew it was filmed, and then it took a couple years to even come out, and then it took a little bit longer to become available for a home release, and it wasn't released in theaters all over the place, right? So it's very exciting. That's going to be on Max. Like I said, I have it on DVD, but I'm excited to just have it be a little bit more accessible because the DVD player is not always doing well. I love the Waitress Pro Shot. It's the first Pro Shot that's ever come out that I actually got to see that cast. I saw this. It wasn't a revival of Waitress because it had just come back and it was the same production, but it sort of come back for another run, and I had seen it. It was a return, I suppose you would call it. I saw it, I want to say September 2nd or 3rd. It was like that Sunday that Broadway had reopened, the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. It was an incredible atmosphere to be in, being in a room full of people who were just so excited to see theater again. And so it was so special because this was just such an all-star cast of people who weren't necessarily the originals, but for one reason or another, just because of like their stints in the show, to me, they became synonymous with the role more than the originals. And so this is the cast. Like, if you know Waitress, if you've seen Waitress, especially through the years, through its run, because it was on Broadway for quite a few years. I want to say like 5 years off the top of my head. Well, yeah, kind of. Well, like COVID and then came back. So, you know, it was on for quite a few years. It had quite a few casts. This is the cast. This is the lineup that you could reasonably, a lot of people would think of, because again, some of these people were in these roles for one reason or another for a while. They become synonymous with the roles. And frankly, anything that Christopher Fitzgerald does, I love him for. He is my most seen actor at this time. Stay tuned for how the hell I'm going to make his pop figure. All right, this video is going on for so long. I barely talked about any news, but I did talk about some highlights that I thought personally were just kind of stand out for me based off of some shows that I had been following for a while that we said goodbye to, and some exciting things kind of on the horizon. So is there more actual news to talk about? Absolutely. There's so much Broadway news to talk about. Oh, well, this is going on for way too long. So we did 2 coats of old Patti here. All right, so her hair is brown. It is brown. We got the under pretty decently. Let's not get our expectations too high. Pretty decently. I'm probably going to do a 3rd coat, but I'm going to give it a nice proper time to dry and pick this up another day. We are then going to be looking to, this is going to be the part that's torture. We want this gold dress to be black with some silver. And then we want the jacket, it's kind of a pale yellow with brown. We want it to be a white with some black. And then we're just going to make the boots black. And then we're going to have to make her not look beat. So we're going to have our work cut out for us, truly. And by us, I mean you're going to watch me struggle. You're going to watch me struggle. Let me know what you thought about this very scattered recap, chat, January news. There's plenty of news left in January. A lot happened. I can just yap about very few things forever, and that's what I did. Is there any January Broadway news that stood out to you? What happened in the world of Broadway this January that you want to chat about? Let me know down below. We will touch base again through my journey of making a Patti Lupone as Joanne in the 2021 Broadway Company revival another time. But for now, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of the things that help my channel grow. I'm looking to really grow a community here on YouTube in the midst of the social media craziness right now. Speaking of social media craziness, you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram in the links down in the description at Theater Kate's. And otherwise, I will see you next time to talk more theater and to make more Funko Pops. Bye!